afternoon, depending on what time zone you are zooming in and listening to us, either on Facebook or you're on YouTube. We appreciate you coming in every Thursday at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time and all time zones in between for On the Fly with Kai. And trust me, it is on the fly. And I bring to you really my tribe, people that I know, that I do business with, and that I actually have a relationship with. And this is the 56th episode. Just time flies. And today is no different. I met this woman networking, big surprise. I love networking and have been purchasing from her, and she purchased from me. And we've had a long history together in networking and doing business. And I have mad respect for her. Bernadette Rolland, it's interesting. She is a single work from home mom, but that wasn't always the case, right? She was able to kick her career to the curb in 2018 and be a full time six-figure entrepreneur in a profession where not a lot of women do that. But she's a single mom of four children. She's got three sons. They're 30, 27, 9, and a daughter who's 15. So trust me, she's a busy woman. And now she's a new grandma as well of a 2-year-old. And so this woman wins everything, makes really good money, and has a lot of fun. So please help me welcome to the show, Bernadette. How you doing, sis?
Hey, Kai, I am great. Good morning.
Good morning. And for those of you who are watching us on replay, try to catch us live because that way you can do comments and things like that. But one of the things I've always admired about you, Bernadette, is you are all business. Like you are a hustler. You are a go-getter. You just get stuff done. And I know you come from a long line of your grandma or your mom was first generation. Tell me about how that played into you and being an entrepreneur and all that piece, because you really are a beast.
Oh, awesome. Well, first, thank you, Kai, for having me on the show. I'm super excited to be here. Well, oh my gosh. Yeah, my grandmother was an immigrant from Mexico and came to this country with nothing except for 7 children, and hustled and worked and was able to buy a home after being here just for a couple years. And so I always knew that. And I saw as I started to grow up and see how hard she worked, having 2 jobs, 3 jobs, but always finding the joy in the work. She never complained, but she worked really hard. And so did all my aunts and uncles because they understood the importance of that. And many became entrepreneurs themselves. And so I saw that. And as we know, kids grab more what's caught than what's taught. And so that really played true for me. And so here I am, an entrepreneur, and I just love it. But yeah, I got a lot of my work ethic from my grandmother and my aunts and uncles.
Yeah, I love that. I had examples of entrepreneurs too. My father was an entrepreneur, but that's not a prerequisite. I've seen people come from,
Absolutely.
corporate and things like that. But you said something really poignant that like you want to kind of instill that in your kids. And I think that's fantastic. And we talked a little bit about you're being a really good steward of money and a financial example to them now. So your, ancestors put into you a good work ethic. You're putting that in, but you're adding in the financial piece as
Yeah.
well to your kids. So tell me about, were you always a financial studette?
I love that term, stud it. Absolutely not. I've made many, many, many mistakes along the way. And that's really how I learned to be more of a wise steward of my money. And a lot of it just was self-taught. A lot of it was just trial and error and just realizing or having the desire that I wanted more. I knew that being in debt and having credit cards and just kind of that rat race of, that we all get stuck into, I just knew that that's not what I wanted. And so if I wanted something different, I had to do something different. And so I really just went on my quest of being self-taught. And gosh, we have so many free resources. YouTube is amazing. Mentors like yourself that I've watched along the years, many other powerful women in my life that I learned from. I'm very, very coachable. And I'm a good student. I'm a good copycat. I copy the right cat for sure. And I just changed my mindset on money and how I made money and how I spent money. And so, yeah, it was just a constant learning, and we're always learning.
Was it a book you read? Was it a particular, financial guru that you listened to? Because I know there's a lot of people that you could help right now.
Absolutely. Well, one of my favorites is David Kiyosaki, Rich Dad Poor Dad. I mean, that was one of my first that I've ever read. Mary Kay Ash, she was an entrepreneur, and then 60s, and I read that book. And there's just so many, so many books. And then obviously through the age of YouTube, I am a YouTube junkie. I don't even watch TV. I watch YouTube, and if it's not pouring into me spiritually, not teaching me something to do with my family and fun with my family, it is absolutely something to do to help forward my business and my mindset and education and how I build my leadership for other people.
I love it. I know you don't have a formal education, right? The whole college thing, but I think there's a lot more to be said for a self education, like what you did with your finances. And we talked about how you know Steve Jobs didn't do it, Mark Zuckerberg, right? It's not a prerequisite because. Listen, when I started being an entrepreneur, no one asked me for my GPA or my report card. You know what I mean? Like, at a
Right.
job, they might ask you for that. So I love that being an entrepreneur is an ultimate equalizer when it comes to that, because you may not be book smart, you may not have the money to go to college, you may not do whatever. But if you're an entrepreneur, it doesn't matter. The bank's not going to ask you that. They're going to ask you for your balance sheet. You know what I mean? So
Right.
it's awesome. So tell me about how that experience was for you, like just kind of doing the work thing and then that transition.
Right. Well, the transition kind of happened over time, but yeah, I like everyone else, I went to work because I didn't have a college education, and not that I didn't see the value of having that. Absolutely, it's very, very important to have an education, but if, like you, as you mentioned, not having the resources at that time, and being a teenage mom, I had my first baby at 17, my second at 21, so it was almost virtually impossible for me to go to school because I had to work, I had to feed people. And so I got into the workforce, and it's great to have a job because you need that today money to feed yourself and to pay your bills. However, I don't think everyone can make their own decision, but for me, that wasn't how I wanted to live the rest of my life for 40, 50 years, and then say this is it, and then here is your retirement fund, and who knows if that's even going to be around, and but give my entire life to a company to build someone else's dreams, to build someone else's family's legacy. So for me, I was in the workforce because that's what I had to do. But then being a part of my company for 17 years, I was able to rub elbows and be around these successful big thinkers and these women that all came from different walks of life, some with college degrees, some not, some from poverty, some from different countries, some from well-to-do families, and all doing the same thing, women empowerment and helping women build their businesses. So that lit a fire in me. And I said, I want that. And I was so attracted to, number one, their happiness, because I didn't have that in the workforce. And number two, I wanted to be able to create my own income. And I wanted to be able to get paid what I was putting in. I wanted it to equal my ambition. And so, yeah, being a part of my company for 17 years, then things happened at my corporate job where I was actually injured at work and I really couldn't work anymore. So I took a step back from corporate America, some time to heal my body, and decided, wow, working a business online is not hard. It's not lifting things. I'm not on the computer all day. I can decide when I need more than just a micro break, more than just that 5-minute break. I need a 2-hour break. I need a daily drive here. And so I just divert from my work and rest my body and heal my body. And what I found was I was able to create an amazing, amazing at-home based business. And then, of course, our lives changed in March of 2020.
I know,
And
I hate to interrupt you, but in 3 days, it was March 13th, 2020,
right.
that happened. So sorry, keep going.
No, you're
Perspective.
absolutely right. And so that happened. And I'm so grateful that I was able to build a foundation business online that I can have, I just fell right into. And then it ended up just exploding. During the pandemic, my business grew by 3 times. My team grew, my customer base grew, and I learned it kind of seems like always a pivot. Every single day is a pivot, right? But I learned how to build a relationship with someone online. And you can actually build a relationship with someone in the comments. And nothing, I will say, nothing takes that place of that eyeball to eyeball, heart to heart with somebody. But you can build a relationship and build a business and a 6-figure business online. And so, yeah, I don't know if that answered your question.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I know you went from, property management, 2018, kicked your career to the curb and have been self-employed ever since. So you went from a pivot from corporate to, entrepreneur, and then you went to another pivot, which was single mom.
Right.
And, you've now got a 9-year-old and a 15-year-old that are relying on you as well. And I just, I love that. And you were saying, as a mom, I know we've got some, moms who said, there's no way I have a full-time job. I can't do something on the side, or I'm a single mom. I can't make this all work. How could I do something, business like that? You talked about some great, mom hacks. So, this is tips, tricks, and hacks for entrepreneurs. What kind of suggestions do you have for those moms that are, thinking I can't do it all. I got soccer, I got to work, I got to do. How did you make it all work? And now you're a single work from home mom. That's huge.
Oh, thanks, Kai. Um, yeah, being a mom is the best job in the world, but it's the hardest. And sometimes what is it like the least grateful one? They're not grateful. They don't understand yet. But yes, busy moms. That is right up my alley. I get it. So first of all, I'll just say I understand and I know how you feel having to cook and to clean and to do everything and to go to work and then like you said, to think about having a business. Well, I love being able to help busy moms really kind of simplify that and create a daily, weekly, monthly plan. And I like to work in quarters. So every 90 days, I feel like you can change anything in 90 days. You can change your income, you can change your figure, you can change anything in 90 days cycles. So I really love working in 90-day cycles. But to take a step back, I would say, as entrepreneurs, we have to be our best boss. And so what I do is I try to be my best boss by every single night writing down my 6 most important things to do list for business, but then also for personal. And it's like a brain dump. I'm just dumping that stuff on that list, on that list, on that list, and then prioritize from that list. And moms and dads, whoever's watching, but you will find once you release that and put it on paper, or if you like electronic notes, that's fine. You're going to feel a sense of relief that at least you got it out on paper. And so you'll be able to sleep well at night. So working from lists is huge. And then consistency, really just being consistent. So if it's creating a daily schedule for yourself, start to create that daily schedule, same wake up time, same time for meditation or prayer in the morning, same time for working out. I mean, working out is so huge. Taking care of yourself mentally and physically is so, so important. And it's okay to make that time for yourself to do that. It's not selfish to, practice self-care. So I think being consistent is huge. I say consistency is sexy because it really helps you create the life that you want to live, that you're working towards, right? So that's how I feel. Preparation. I feel preparation is the key to success. You got to be prepared, man. So you, again, working through that list and being prepared. I love this name, On the Fly with Kai, because it does allow us just to be kind of authentic and organic and have that conversation. But when you can prepare, man, that is going to change your life. And you can prepare in 10-minute cycles. It doesn't have to take a long time, 10 minutes. Set a timer for yourself. I play this game with myself. I set a timer and I'm making booking calls, and I call it a booking blitz. I'm on the phone for 10 minutes, 15 minutes. And then I move to being a mom. I move to, cooking dinner or doing homework or things like that. So those are some of my tips.
I love it. And the six list personal, six list business of the night before is really, really great. And you said something really important. So not only consistency, it's funny, I just did a post on that on Facebook because I think that's a really big key. And then, scheduling it, right. And being prepared. But you said something really interesting. People Tony Robbins says you underestimate what you can do in 5 years and you overestimate what you can do in 12 months. And so a lot of people, get started in something and like, I don't see that I'm skinny in 3 days. I quit. Or, I don't see
Right.
the bank account growing in, 2 days. I'm not successful yet. But, you said something interesting to me before we got started that, in 24 months, you were able to save, $38,000, work in your, business and be able to put it down on the mobile that you have now in Silicon Valley. And it's beautiful and you've been remodeling it. And so tell us how you were able to do that, because I think that is really important. You're really goal oriented and you hit them and you set a plan to be able to do it. It's impressive.
Oh, thank you so much, Kai. Well, I think you said it. Number one, you got to set a goal, because if you don't, you're going to hit it every single time. Right. So you got to make a goal. And at that time, I was, going through a divorce and paying high rent here in Silicon Valley, and knew that this couldn't be my life forever. So I started to save money, like hard cold cash. And the goal was, I'm going to buy a house. And people would even laugh at me like, you can't buy a house here. And this was 6-7 years ago. You can't buy a house here. And I said, well, who knows where it's going to be. I had an idea that it was probably going to be far, right, 150 miles away from here in Silicon Valley. But did it matter? My goal was, I'm going to buy a house and I'm going to make sure that each of my two younger children, because those are the ones that are home with me, that have their own bedroom. That's what I wanted. And nothing was going to stop me from getting that house. I mean, I wanted that house more than I wanted my next breath. So number one, you got to set the goal. And number two, you got to be determined. No matter what's happening around you, just play defense, stiff arm that negative thoughts and stiff arm those non-believers and crush that goal and go after it, even if people think you're crazy. But so that's what I did. And I saved literally pennies. I'm not kidding, like pennies and money. And I saved all my tax returns. And as entrepreneurs, we have the ability to write off things that we're using for our business. So I saw that tax refund like, yes, this is a product of having my own business. I'm saving this money. I picked up every extra shift at work because I was working at that time. There was 1 month, Kai, I worked 28 days straight. And I told my children, I said, this isn't forever. This is because mommy is going to buy you a house and you're going to get your own room. And they were super excited about it. And they were like, okay. So it was a short-term sacrifice for a long-term gain. And that's what I did for about 2 years. And yeah, you're absolutely right. I was able to save $38,000 in cash and to put down on a down payment on the home that I'm at now. And again, it was because there was nothing more important than the final goal.
I told you folks, she's a beast. There's so much you can learn from this six-figure entrepreneur from home. I mean, it's amazing. I love that. And, we did something similar. I am married and so we were able to do the exact same thing. We saved and saved and we bought our house in '09. So we were neighbors. Remember, you lived right down the street from me. So we bought our
Absolutely.
house in '09, right at the bottom of the market. Why? Because we've been saving, we were prepared. And I mean, I'm not making any predictions here, but I have a feeling you'll probably be able to do that again in the next 12 to 24 months. So cash is king a lot of times, especially if you want to make a big purchase like that. So start saving now so that you can take advantage of some of the sales that are going to be happening on whether it's in vehicles or homes or whatnot, because what comes up must go down. So that was my little 2 cents worth right there too.
Love it.
And I call you a beast in a good way. I mean, I really am blown away too about your follow-up. I'm like, holy smokes, this woman's on top of it. And I think, I'm self-employed and that is so there's 2 things that are going in my head. One is it's a story that I'm telling myself that probably isn't true, that like, I don't want to bug people. And I think that is true of most people. Like most people are good at making that initial contact and then they're terrible at follow-up. And I'm so guilty of that. You are not, on the other hand. And like I said, you're a beast. So tell us about, follow-up and because that's what I asked you. What are you really good at in your like sales process? And she said follow-up. So I'd love for you to tell people, how'd you get good at it? What are some tips on follow-up?
Oh, wow. Absolutely. Really, I got good at it because I was doing it. So it's literally is just practice. Practice doesn't make perfect. Practice makes progress. So start with one and just keep going from there. And so that's what I did. I followed the direction of my mentors, and they said to follow up, and so I did it. And I just follow up with people, and I feel like I want to provide that service that I appreciate. And so that's what I do. I want to provide quality customer service. And I know, as at women and men, we're just busy, and we may want to purchase that product from that entrepreneur because we want it, but we're just so busy. So it is our responsibility as entrepreneurs to follow up with people and give reminders. I say that we are CROs, chief reminding officers. That's what we do, is like we have to get really good at reminding people and following up with people. And I just believe people get busy and they appreciate that follow up and that reminder. And if they don't need any of my products at the time, they just say, no, thank you. But I put them to the next follow up, which is about 2 to 3 months. And that's what I do.
I love that. I had to throw that up there. I'm sorry. I just think that was awesome. And I could never,
CROs. You got to get good at being the CRO.
it's really cute. I'm stealing that, just so you know. I'll give you credit
Okay.
once and then it's mine. Because, but I think that is a really hard thing. I mean, I struggle with it, and I know people need what I have because, they need it. I mean, they told me their issue. I'm like, I have the solution, right? So
Right.
I really appreciate that. Are there any tangible tips? Like, I do follow up once a week, once a month? Do you have a CRM you're using? Be more mechanical with some people. Like, how do they bake this into their daily modus operandi?
Right. Well, I would love to say I have this really amazing customer as CRM, customer, management system, right? Um, I have one, and it's what I use to run my business. But literally for me, the easiest thing is I send a catalog to my customers once every 90 days. So I'm making sure that I'm following up in that 90 days when I know that catalog, which is actually a paper catalog, and we are, trying to eliminate our carbon footprint. So we've moved to just once every 90 days. Obviously, I have an online catalog as well, but I at least try to make it a point to follow up with my customers once every 90 days. I do have some automated things in place that will help me with those reminders. I'm not doing the work, but the automatic emails and the automatic text messages, those do go out as well. So yes, as entrepreneurs, it would be great to be able to connect with every single customer every single day, or, once every 90 days, but it's just humanly impossible. So employ other services to help you run your business. I think that is something very powerful, as being an entrepreneur. Know what you need to delegate and know what you need to pay. That $10, $12, $30 you're paying a month for that service is going to net you so much more in return financially, and also with your time, so you're always paying with something, either financial or your time, right? So when you delegate, it's just worth it. I mean, it's worth it. So hope that answered your question. Oh, and one last thing I will say, fortune is in your follow-up. I always say fortune is in your follow-up. And research shows that it takes about 7 to 8 reaches to really make a conversion. So don't give up. Don't give up if you try to contact somebody once, twice, 3, 5, 6 times, because the real magic is going to happen at that 7th or 8th touch to that person.
I feel like a pest, though. Really?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay. I'm such a
Yeah.
wimp sometimes. I'm like, oh, well, I appreciate that. And, you said something important too, like, it's either going to cost you time or money. And I would say the most important thing is time, because you can always make more money, but you can't make more time. So, you
Right.
and I both have a VA. I mean, it's smart. I mean, there are some things that you can automate. There are also some things that you can hire out. And with so many people wanting to work from home right now, you honestly can find them, but it's not going to be cheap. We pay a lot of money for it, right?
Right.
Because we
Right.
live in an expensive area too. But don't be cheap. If you think you can't afford to, you honestly can't afford not to. What is your time worth, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So what about mistakes? So I know, you've has your career just been totally linearly like, you got started part-time 2018, you quit your job, and then all of a sudden, it just kept going straight, 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 straight. Is that kind of how it works?
Well, from the 2018, by then I kind of had some things figured out, but I had been a part of my company since 2004. So early on, I joined my company while working another job. And why I love that is because I was able to just work it part time, take it step by step, but I was still was making that today money. And I was still just learning slowly in my entrepreneurship and making those mistakes. And I think it's okay because usually we practice. We start off with our family, our friends, and so they love us no matter what. But yeah, I mean, there were many times where I was like, here, put this on your eyes. And it was actually a day cream, and put this on your face, and it was actually an eye cream. So I've made mistakes. But I think the hugest thing is just staying enthusiastic about your products and about your business, about your service, whatever it might be, and stay joyful. Just find the joy in things and don't take yourself too seriously. If you tell somebody the wrong thing, own up to that mistake, but just have fun with it and just find the joy in things. So yeah, it wasn't always, perfect. I think perfection is false. It's a facade. It's not real. But I think enthusiasm could be authentic and finding the joy. And that's really what I choose to do, is just make sure that I am bringing joy to other people and just staying enthusiastic. That's what I know that I can do.
Yeah, I mean, all we can control is our actions and attitudes. And so you've obviously proven that you're consistent in your actions. You got a great attitude. No wonder you're successful. So congratulations again to you and all of your success. I do want to make sure that if people would like to, engage with Bernadette and find out more about who she is, what she does, and just continue the conversation. Do you want to tell everybody what this is, how to connect with you?
Absolutely. Absolutely. This is my link tree. So you can absolutely find me on Instagram at Bernadette's Beauty Beehive. You can find me on Facebook. You can find me on YouTube. I have some videos there on YouTube, building my YouTube platform. And if you want some free samples, there's a link there for you to click for free. And I'm going to send you some goodies. And absolutely. So definitely reach out. I'd be so, so happy to connect with all of your viewers, Kai. And I will say, my last tip here for entrepreneurs is the 3Ds. 3D. Decision. You got to make a decision, and you got to be determined to that decision, and you got to stay dedicated. So decision, determination, and dedication truly, truly will take you far in any business or any goal that you are working towards.
All right. Well, that is awesome. I really appreciate that. And so let me go ahead and show that on there for you. With that being said, thanks for being on the show. Really appreciate your time here today. And thanks for the delivery yesterday, if you will.
You're welcome.
All right. Well, for all of our viewers that are watching us on replay, I encourage you to watch it live so you can comment and interact with us. You can ask questions of our guests. And so, what does that look like? Well, we meet Thursdays at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, all time zones in between, where we bring you an entrepreneur that's had success or has tips for you or ways to really shave some time off your learning curve. And that's my goal here today, is just really bring you some great trusted folks, my tribe, to you, so that you can actually be more successful in your entrepreneur ventures as well. So with that, thanks again, Bernadette. Take care, take charge, everybody. We'll see you guys next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.